Hey folks, Piano Man Steve here. Welcome to my tutorial for Billy Joel's beautiful ballad, And So It Goes. I'm excited to teach this. This is a song that I fell in love with back in 1989 when it first came out, and it's kind of sentimental memory for me because the first Billy Joel album I ever owned, I was 12 at the time, and I owned the Stormfront album. Bought it, turned me into a big Billy Joel fan, and that led to a chain reaction of a lot of things and culminated in me being here as a piano player doing what I'm doing now. So this is definitely a real pleasure for me to be teaching anything from that album, and this is such a pretty song. Had a lot of requests for it. We're going to be in the key of C, and this is actually, it's a fairly straightforward song. I think it's easier to play than a lot of things in his catalog, but it certainly merits going over because it's the kind of song that, while it's not technically that difficult, it does require some finesse. So we'll go through some of the chord voicings that you'll want to use and talk a little bit about when to let up on your pedal and when to let it ring and all that good stuff, and we'll just go through like we always do, note by note, and show you what's being played. So I'll see you in the next section, and we're going to get started. Thanks a lot for purchasing. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, well, we're going to get started here. The first thing we're going to learn is the intro, which is actually good because once you learn the intro, you play it several times throughout the song, so it's a transferable skill. But what we're going to learn is this. It goes, okay, that's what we're going to learn in this first section. The left hand, first I want you to find middle C with your right hand because you're going to be right on this position here with your thumb on middle C. Your left hand is going to be 2 C's below middle C with your pinky, and it's going to go like this. So, C, E, F, E, F, G, A. Okay? Okay, and what you're going to want to do with the pedal, by the way, here is you're going to want to kind of be off of the pedal when you go, and then come down on it on F, let back up, back down on A because you want it to ring, okay? So the right hand, we're on C, it goes C, E, and then you play B, C, and G. It creates creates a major 7th chord sound a little bit. Okay, and from here you move to this C, G, and A, creating an F. It's called an F added ninth, an F major added ninth. Okay, and from here you go back to this and back to that, and one more time here, and then you go to an A minor suspension. So you play A, D, and E, and then resolve that suspension from the D down to the C, like so. So watch that in context. I'll play it slow. Okay, now you can do it like this. Just play those two notes and then resolve with A and C, or you can do this. It doesn't matter, it works either way. So look at that again. Now, the right hand, it's important to know that the left hand doesn't start until the second note. There's a pickup note by the right hand. So watch, she plays C, then okay, watch that again. I'll play both hands slow. It wouldn't have to be octaves. If you didn't want to play octaves down here, you could just play this A, so it can just be. But octaves is fine there too. It just kind of adds a little emphasis because so it's really up to you. That's fine, but watch that a couple more times and then we'll move on. Again. One more for good measure. Okay? Now from here, the right hand goes up to this B and it goes B, C, B, C, E, F, A, G. A little slower. Okay, now in the right hand, you're going like so. You play G and D together like that. Okay, and it's just from D to E, and you keep your thumb down here on G. It's bum, bum, ba, bum. And then it's C and G together twice. Bum, bum. Okay, when you hit the A down here, it's just C and E in the right hand, and then a G chord, G, B, and D. Okay, so watch that section in context all the way through. Slow. Now, you can do this. I added an extra note there. That's the kind of thing that happens to me. Sometimes I'll accidentally add a note that works, so I want to show it to you as a possibility. Bum, 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 bum. You can add this A when you play the F, and that creates an F. It's called an F added ninth. F, A, C is your F major chord. This G is called the added ninth, and it bum. It's beautiful. Okay, once again. Again. Okay, and I'm going to do it from the beginning all the way to where I just got there. Okay, one more time, that whole line. Okay? Now, moving on with the rest of that little intro, luckily you already know how to do this. Because that's exactly what you do. So you play that again. Now the left hand goes B, C, E, F, A, G, G, C. B, C, E, F, A, G, G, C. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we're back here in the right hand. This G and D together, up to the G and E together. Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Bum. Yeah, see? Ba-dum, bum, bum. So far we're pretty familiar. Bum. Now it's an A minor chord. Ba-dum. On this G, you're going to play an F major chord, F, A, and C over a G bass. Bum, 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 ba, bum. So chord and then just a C. Bum, ba-dum. You don't even have to go bum, ba-dum. You can just bum. Octave C's and a C major chord. E, G, and C with octave C's. So watch that in context, okay? We've just gone... Again. Okay, now I'm going to go through the whole intro in slow motion 2 or 3 times, and then we'll move on to a new section. Okay, again. Forgive me, I make that mistake from time to time. Let's try that again. do it once. I'll still do it slower, but I'm going to do it without doing my little contortionist trick with my fingers. I'll just finger it normally. One last time for good measure, really slow. Okay, and I would say on the pedal, I want you to watch, I'll use this kind of a okay, so it's like I'm down, up, down, up, down, up, down. See, I tend to move my foot up and down a lot, so it's like almost every single note. You know, up, down, 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 up, down. Because I want that resonance on this song. This calls for a lot of reverb, you know, but at the same time, you don't want them bleeding into each other because then you get this sound. That takes all the prettiness out of it. So your pedal needs to be, you need to kind of get that foot moving in motion and do a lot of, rather than, it needs to be up, down, and it needs to be right as you're getting ready to lift off of one note and attack the next note. Your pedal, the way I look at it, the pedal ought to be depressed like a split second after you hit the note. So down, 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 down. See, so it's like my foot lifts up and then comes down immediately after hitting the note. So it's like I attack the note and then boom, I'm down on the pedal. And that gives you a chance for every note to have a little bit of echo, but you don't want these chords bleeding into each other. And when in doubt, just go with your gut and just like trust your leg to do the right thing. Because if you start thinking too hard about the pedal, frankly, you'll screw it up. That's one of those things that works best when you kind of trust your instincts a little bit rather than trying to micromanage it from your brain. Okay? We're going to move into the verses, and I'll see you in the next section. Alright, well now we're into the verses, and this is going to be a really short chapter because guess what? You just learn the verses by learning the intro, you know. In every heart there is a room, a sanctuary safe and strong. And then he does the same thing. I spoke to you in cautious tones. You answered me with no pretense, and still I feel I said too much. My silence is my self-defense. So literally by playing the intro, you've played verse 1 and verse 2 verbatim the way it is. Congratulations. Work on the first section and you've got the first 2 verses of the song already learned. And that's just what he plays. So what I'm going to focus on here are a couple of very, very small variations that take place in the third verse and the final verse. Okay? In the third verse, the only thing that you really need to look for is that he says, "But if my silence..." Okay, so what is that? Well, instead of going, it's actually... Okay, that's all it is. It's just, but if my... Here and back down to this little guy. In the right hand, it's C, E, F, E. Instead of C, E, F and hold it, it's... And up here it's simply C, E. Now normally you would go like so. You would have gone... Right? Well, in this case it's... So you're just from here back to the F thing. There you go. So you're just kind of toggling here between here and here. And then finally back down to your A minor suspension. So let me play that slow a couple of times. Once again. And again. Pretty simple variation. If you've already learned, then you shouldn't have any trouble going. I mean, you know, it might take you a second so that you don't fudge the notes, but it's pretty similar. Silence made you leave. Then everything else is the same. Okay, so everything else is exactly the same as what the intro was. Then there's a slight variation that we need to look at in the final verse, okay? Because in the final verse he says, "So I would choose to be with you. That's if the choice were mine to make." And it's the same thing. I listened for it today. I wondered if he altered the melody just a little bit in the piano, because he does change it when he goes, "Were mine." So maybe he would go, but he doesn't. It's just that's if the choice were mine to make. This is where there's a slight variation, is that he goes da 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 make. Instead of going, this time you can make decisions too. It's actually okay. he does this little thing where he works his way up the piano. And he does his suspension from a B down to an A instead of a D down to a C. Okay, and my ear tells me actually that he actually only plays here, these three notes. Which leaves the C out, but I think that that's kind of implied, basically, you know? So you could do this, but it doesn't quite sound right to me from the recording. What sounds correct to me is... Okay, so I'll show you how to do that. So this much we've learned. Okay, now we move to a G, A, just like you would in the bass normally. Except now you go to a G added ninth chord here, and it's D, A, and B. And then on the A you go bum, E, A, and B. Bum. And then you play that A again because that creates like a resolution from here. So watch that in context. Again. And again. Okay, and then from here, instead of coming down and going, okay, it actually goes, okay, play this G chord, D, G, and B, up to that C chord, E, G, and C. So, and then you come back down. So it's bottom, bum, back to where we normally were. Bottom, ba, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Okay, so watch that whole line play out this is the second half of the final verse. Play that a little slower. Once again. Okay, well that's all the variations in the verses. So you've got about 80% of the song learned once you master what's in the first section of this video and this section. The next thing I'm going to show you is what to do when he says, and this is why my eyes are closed, that whole thing, okay? So I'll see you there. Okay, now we're going to look at what I would call the bridge. There's not really a chorus to this song, so to speak, but there is sort of a variation, a bridge that goes, and this is why my eyes are closed. It's just as well for all I've seen. And so it goes, and so it goes. And you're the only one who knows. That whole thing. They do that twice. And I listened real carefully. And what's happening is, he goes like so. We've just gone. And this is. So he plays an E G. And then it's a C chord. Okay? E, G, C chord. And underneath on your left hand, there's a little bit of an arpeggiated thing. It's B flat, B flat, G, B flat. Okay. So we have E, G, chord, chord. And this is why from there. And then from there, we go to octave A's, and you play C and G together like that, and it looks like, and then toggle from the G to the F like so. So it looks like this. And then from here we go to another C and G over an A flat bass, which staggers into A flat, F, and A flat. So watch that all play out. See? Excuse me. And then an F. So bottom bum, bottom bum, bum, bottom bum, bottom bum, bum. Okay, and then from there it's pretty simple. You just play a C chord over a G bass, and then a C chord over an A bass, bum, bum, and then you play an F sharp bass with A, C, and D like so, and then a G bass with C, D, and G. You're playing a suspension, bum, bum. Okay, so watch the whole section there from the beginning to that point, you know, in its entirety, in the flow with a tempo. I won't play it at full tempo, but I'll play it at a tempo so you can see how it all interacts together. Okay, again. Again. Oh, sorry. Bumped the camera. That make you feel like you're in a roller coaster? Sorry about that. Okay, and the way that sounds over the top of the singing, so you know what's happening there, is he goes, and this is why my eyes are closed. It's just as well for all I've seen. And then you repeat that exact thing. And so it goes, and so it goes, and you're the only one who knows. And then you're back into a verse. Okay, so let me play through that a couple times without my fingers being all goofy, and you can see how it works together. One more time, I'll slow it down a little bit. Okay, and one time at full speed, just 'cause I feel like I should. There you go. Pretty straightforward stuff. Okay, there's really only two things we need to look at. In the next section, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the parts that go. Okay, which are pretty familiar probably too. There's some transferable skills there, but we'll go over those and then we'll do a wrap-up. See you then. Okay, well there's two times when he does a little and so it goes thing, only he jumps an octave up, and I'm going to show you kind of what he's doing. You should be pretty familiar. One time it goes like this. Okay, now that's pretty darn close to what you're already doing. The left hand or the right hand is exactly the same. You're just up an octave. And I guess I would play the full octave chord when I got, rather than just that, I'd go. But that's the only difference. The left hand starts out in exact proportion. It jumps up an octave and goes. But then instead of going up here, so you're C, E, F, G, low A. B, C, E, F, A. So again, it starts out following it exactly, and then it just drops back down to its lower octaves, so your hands are a little more spread. But watch. Okay, again. A little slower. Okay? The second time that he does that, he does this. Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. So again, nothing we haven't already learned. It's just part of that intro lick. It's just up an octave. Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. And up and down here, you're just ba-dum, dum, ba-da-da, low. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Watch that together here. Once again. Even slower. All right. So basically the same thing that we've already learned, but just slightly different in the left hand. And then the final, I'm going to show you, I have one more section before the wrap up. I'm going to show you the final ending that they do, okay? I'll see you there. Okay, now I'm just going to take a look at this last ending. And it's similar. It's basically like, and this is why my eyes, you know, and this is why my eyes are closed. Okay, except it goes, and so it goes, and so it goes, and then it goes to here. It goes to a G bass. And you're playing a C and an E together like a little chord. You're the... And it goes bum onto a G like that. Bum, dum. Then it drops down to an F bass. Bum, dum. Okay, and it stays right there because it's like an F major ninth, okay? Okay. Bum. So E, D, and then that chord, F, F, A, and C, with low G's. One, who knows? And there's your C chord. So watch that. Very soft, okay? once more. And you don't even have to go. It can just be. There you go. You can just be. It can just be that. See how beautiful and soft that ending is? Okay, and the wrap up I'm going to string all of these little sections together so you can see how they fit together and catch any minor transitions. So I'll see you in the wrap up. Okay, well here we are with the wrap up. We're going to take these sections. Like I said, there's a lot of repetition in this song. Once you learn a couple of basic things, you're home free, but beautiful, beautiful piece of music. Okay, so we start out with our intro. Now here's your first verse. There is a room, that verse. To heal the wounds. Another verse just like it. My silence is my self-defense. Okay, now it goes into your first little bridge. So my silence is my self-defense. There we go. That was your third verse that goes, but if my silence here's your first high up. Okay, now from here, you've just gone. I would go like that. I would just play 2, 3. I would just comp a little bit right here on E and G. 1, 2, and then come down on a B like that on your way to the B flat staggers. And this is one. Okay, so back to that. last verse. That's if the choice were mine. Oh, see, now I just did, but that's not true. That's if the choice were mine to make. There we go. Here we go. Ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. Last time going up high. And so it goes, and so it goes. And you're the only one who knows. So coming out of that whole there you go. That's your song. One of the prettiest songs I think ever written. So, thank you so much. I appreciate your business. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I sure enjoy doing them, and I really, really enjoy working with people like yourself who continue to try and better yourselves all throughout your lives and learn new things. That's so cool. I wish most people had the courage that you do. So it's really an honor, and like I said, it's really, really a sentimental honor for me to be, helping people learn songs from the Stormfront album. It changed my life completely. So I'm sure if you check my blog out, you'll see some posts that tell all of those stories. So thank you for all the requests you've given me. Remember, if you're not having fun when you're making music, you're doing it wrong. And I'll see you on the next one, guys. Honestly, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Bye-bye. Have a good one.